Hello, Radiant One, and a very big and a very warm welcome to Mastery, the show and podcast for brilliant spiritual beings just like you, having a human experience and wanting to lead with love in work, business, and life. Here we merge the worlds of seen and unseen, magic and miracles with the mundane and the practical, spirituality with strategy, the energetic with the physical, and business, work, and life with a whole lot of love and soul. I'm your host, spiritual business coach, energy worker, and radical love rebel, Maria Saraphina. And it is my deep honor, my great pleasure, and joy to share this episode, this podcast, and this world with you. Today I'm joined by Lori Menna, the aquarian visionary and stellar soul behind Cosmic Collage, a sacred fusion of spirit, symbolism, and soul-infused design. With over 25 years of professional experience as a graphic artist and web designer, Lori has cultivated a rich body of work that includes 3 published oracle decks with Hay House and her own self-published deck, The Energetics of Color. Her creative journey is deeply intertwined with her healing path, rooted in the belief that the act of creation is sacred, an inherently human endeavor meant to be guided by integrity and authenticity. On top of working with private clients, Lori has also opened herself up as a mentor and offers both mentorships, classes, and a membership for those called to her work. I'm not exactly sure when, but Lori popped into my Instagram feed one day and I was completely enamored by her incredible work where she channels energetic frequencies into visual form, creating artwork that is both aesthetically captivating and vibrationally healing, and deeply, deeply felt, if you ask me. Lori views her creative gift as a transmission from the spirit world, one that she honors through intentional artistry and earth-conscious living. Furthermore, guided by a strong inner compass and a passion for restoring harmony in an imbalanced world, Lori brings a sense of purpose and justice into every project. In this sacred conversation, you'll hear Lori share and us talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of her journey with spirituality, which Lori shares openly and honestly. Come sit by the fire, Radiant One, and allow this powerful transmission to stir your inner waters. Here is our sacred conversation. Lori, welcome to Mastery. I am so excited that you have said yes to my invitation to join us here because I'm not sure how I came into your world, but I follow you on Instagram and the I don't, it's not even image, it's the transmissions that you share are just so impactful and deep and go far beyond any like visual. I know it's visual, but it just, it hits deep. So I am thrilled that you've said yes to coming on Mastery and to join me in the sacred conversation. Would you start us off by introducing yourself? Just briefly let us know who you are and what you do, your magic in this world.
Thank you. Well, I'm thrilled and honored that you would invite me. So thank you for having me. I always love connecting with like-minded people. And so I'm Lori. I'm the creator of Cosmic Collage. And basically, I think, I've been calling it visual medicine.
Mm.
For me, it has been the medicine, like the thing that like gets me through all of the difficulties in life, the emotions. The process of creating for me has been, it's been alchemizing. It's what I need. Some people it's dance, some people it's music, some people it's Prozac. For me, it's this artwork.
Yes.
In many different forms. And over the years, well, I became a graphic designer 26 years ago, and everything kind of shifted. I used to do websites for like doctors and lawyers and mechanics and like a plastic surgeon, like anyone that
Wow.
I would possibly be my client. Like I worked for agencies. And so I've been doing graphic design for so many years, but I also went to art school, and I finally have kind of came to a place in my career where I really like matched up the graphic design career with my like true dharmic path of like the type of artwork that I create.
Yeah.
So it feels like I kind of landed in a good place.
Mm. Yeah. And also one that is consistently evolving as I see it. There's a continual evolvement. Um, how did you like were you born open or were you like how did your journey with spirituality begin?
I think I was born open. I think that's a really good question, and I'm glad that you asked that
Yeah.
because when you previously mentioned it, like, and people ask all the time, like, my journey with spirituality, like, well, I think it began before I was born. Like,
Gotcha.
I
Yeah.
hear it obviously somewhere, but I think as like a child, I always had like really vivid dreams, some really interesting and kind of difficult experiences as a child, some
Yeah.
trauma,
Yeah.
really like hard traumas as a child. And there is always, I have these memories, like these specific things. As like even a little girl, like I almost lost my sister in an accident, and in the hospital, everyone was like rushing around, and there was like this woman, and she like sat up in the bed and like looked at me, and like as far as I remember, like that was like my first like spiritual
Yeah.
thing where I was like connected to another world, and
Gotcha.
I was 5 years old.
Oh, wow. Did you know that she was spirit or did you know that
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like she told me my sister was going to be okay, and then I told I would continue to tell my family, even though they were like they told us my sister was like not going to be okay. They
Okay.
like brought us into the little room with the Bible, and we were in an accident, and she fell in the propeller, and she was cut up really bad, in a boat accident.
Oh,
It was really bad,
yeah.
and but the whole time, like I knew that she was going to be okay. So when
Wow.
you ask about like when did like that was the point where I was like, I knew that I was connected to something
Yeah.
other than this world. I mean, we all are, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it
whether we know, yeah, yeah, whether we know it or acknowledge it or whatever, like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
knowledge is
There's
very
models
young.
in the world, and that's fine. And so did that because that's a very comforting experience. I mean, except for I don't know how the environment took it. Like that must have been kind of
It's definitely like a trauma that shaped our family
yeah,
dynamic.
yeah, yeah.
I still like, I have a very I don't have the best relationship with my family. Like other things have happened.
Gotcha.
I'm actually not even in contact. I don't even speak to my parents.
Okay.
Um, there's like a lot of different things have happened over the years, and a lot of really difficult things that it's almost as if I always felt like the things in my life have been like an initiation to
Mm,
like it's just like things that are just like come before me. I'm like, is this like a fucking joke? Like, is this really happening?
yeah, 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 yeah. And these, I love that you share that it's initiations because that's how I view the world or challenges as well. They're there to strengthen us. Well, and I know they can suck hard, and they do, but still, it's a moment of initiation of deeper recognition or acknowledgement of inner strength, I suppose.
Yeah, it totally. And even like I don't want to like I don't like when people say that like, oh, well, you had this experience to be a bigger person or
No,
you
no, no, yeah.
a strong person to deal with this. And
Yeah,
like, no, like it shouldn't have been that way. But you
100%.
have, I mean, I just feel like at some point, like you have to find the love and the light within your own being
Yeah,
to be able
yeah,
to like shift your perspective
yes.
on things that are like happening in your life.
Yeah.
And um
And also acknowledge that there are things that children are not supposed to be, because that's like I grew up with a father who was, abusive and I see how that shaped me. And I also don't want that to be the experience for anyone that I know or like I don't have children myself, but I have nephews and I don't want that on anyone else because it's not the either or, it's the both and in terms of that. It's like, it happened and I don't want it to happen for anyone else. That makes sense. And did that experience then continue in terms of, because it's actually a very, it sounds like a very comforting experience with that spirit showing up for you and letting you know she's going to be okay. Did that continue then throughout your childhood that they would show up in that way to be of comfort to you or
Yes,
yeah,
100. There have always been like signs and things that kept me in like hope and that lift my spirits and synchronicity or synchronicity? Synchronicity?
synchronicities, yeah.
Um, yeah, so there's always been this kind of like path to follow, like a
Yeah.
path of signs.
Yeah.
And when I create artwork, there's something about like
Mm.
symbols and like for example, I'm having a workshop coming up this Sunday, and I'm calling it Stop and Smell the Roses. And
Yes.
this yellow rose bloomed out in front of my yard, and then I was like trying to plan a trip, and it's for the tourist season,
Mm.
and I was trying to plan a trip in the Hoh rainforest this summer in Seattle. And I just looked on some Airbnbs this morning, and there was one of the Airbnbs had like a sheet with like a Taurus with all these roses around it, with a bowl with roses around it. And I was like, oh, that's really weird. Just like the signs, like little
Yes.
signs, little
Yes.
things.
Yes.
Always felt like connected to something that's like
Yeah. Yes.
showing me that it's okay. Everything's going
Yeah.
to be okay. Even if it's like a number, like as cheesy as that is, like 1111, or like the numbers that we see, like 44.
Yes.
My daughter was born on 111111, and she was born during like the most challenging, difficult time of my life. And I mean, like, and she is just like came in as this like just like such the easiest baby, like laughing and smiling. And like, I mean, she actually came in with the cord around her neck, but after that, it was easier. It was easier. But
That
yeah,
little thing.
yeah. To
So
answer the question, yes, I've
yeah,
always felt like there's something out there supporting me,
yes,
whatever that is, and
that
however
is
that.
that is wild and wonderful. And then when did you, was it conscious from the beginning or did it like how has it evolved through your, especially through your teenage years? Because often I hear that when we reach the teenage years, that's when we sort of begin to shut down before we then open back up. How was that for you?
So yeah, my teenage years were really hard. I went through a stage of depression. It also, a very interesting situation. I lost a friend at a young age, and it was a very kind of complicated situation. And then he
Yeah,
died out of nowhere. It was also kind of connected to my sister. Her
yeah,
and I on like weird karmic path.
yeah,
Anyway, our friend, we lost this person.
yeah.
And then at like right after he died, like a few months after he died, I actually took LSD for the first time.
Gotcha.
And that like opened up, like blew my mind. Like I was sitting in front of a tree, and I like saw the spirit of the tree, and I was like,
Wow.
had this greater understanding. And I'm sure, like my parents would say I was an asshole at this
Yeah,
age, like
yeah,
15, 17, just like out there partying, being defiant, not listening. But I think I was shaping my pathway into like something different of
yeah,
like going the way, following my own path.
yeah. Connected is the word that I hear. Connected, connected, connected. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so when did you realize that you wanted to be a graphic designer or going that direction?
Well, it's actually funny. I used to work in flower shops when
Mm.
I
Oh,
was in high school. So
wow.
for years, I worked in flower shops, and I did like flower arrangements for like
Yeah,
weddings and funerals, and I really loved it. I loved working with flowers. But, it's an artistic expression. And one of my jobs, I worked in a garden center, and I used to do like bubble letters. It's
Mm.
and my daughter and I just did all of this artwork, and
Oh,
letters is like a
yeah,
big thing, just like hand drawing the letters.
yeah,
What's this garden shop that I worked at, I think I was just doodling on a piece of paper, and the owner came in and he said, it was like a really big garden center.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, she needs to make our signs. So then I got to make all the signs for all the different flowers and like draw the flowers. So that was like, it was like a dream come true for me.
Wow.
I was probably like 15,
Yeah.
16 years old when I did that. Um, but then I wasn't sure if I wanted to go to college. Um, and then last minute, my mom helped me get enrolled into this like local little art school in Philadelphia. And
Oh,
my dad bought me an Apple computer. Remember when Apple came out with like the color, there was like a
yes.
turquoise one, it was like
Yes.
an iMac.
Yes. Yes.
I got one of those. My dad bought it for me.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was really exciting. And
That was like the beginning of, yeah.
parents really encouraged me to
Yeah.
be a graphic designer. But even before that, my dad had a computer and I would go on his computer in his office and I would play on like Paint Shop. And I
Yeah.
think there was like a draw program, a Paint Shop, and Print Shop. And
Yeah.
I would like book covers, but make like graphics out of like all of the different shapes and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, my dad was like, "Oh, you're going to be a graphic designer."
Wow. But that sounds supportive. Like that sounds supportive
Yeah,
of your journey and your career and even getting you enrolled in art school.
I
Is
know. Well, everything has two sides to it.
completely agree. Like
I
completely.
100% hold on to all of the good things, and I
Yes.
think
Yes.
a really actually brings me to that's my life is holding on to like the good things. And
Yeah.
even like my children, I teach them like you can let all of the bad things eat you up inside.
Yes.
And we do, and we're not going to be perfect every day, but we do let all the bad things eat us up inside to the
Yeah.
point that we don't remember the good things.
Yeah.
And the last few years, I've really been on a path with myself, trying holding on to all of the good things. And like, I'll talk about all the good things,
Yeah.
then I'll talk about the bad things.
Yeah.
And, that forgiveness and that doesn't really dissolve boundaries.
No.
That mean that like someone has to sit at your table and have dinner with them.
Yeah.
But just
100%.
like that, learning how to actually forgive someone and not have them in your life, or it's a very tricky.
Yes. I mean, that is, to me, that is also because there is this notion that we're somehow supposed to be just forgiving everyone. And that, like you said, that then forgiving means that you then just allow this person back into your life when what it can actually mean just letting them go completely and not holding on. And it's funny because people will think that if you have forgiven someone and you don't let them back into your life, that you're holding a grudge. And it's like, no, I've just made it very clear what I will and will not accept in my life.
Well, yes, absolutely. And I mean, it's something that really took me so many years to understand. And
Yeah.
then like go back and you go back and you go back. And
Yeah.
it just doesn't work. It doesn't work.
No.
Like you can love someone so much. You can love and appreciate someone so much
Yes.
from a distance. And I feel like there's like this
Yeah.
understanding
Yeah.
and that begins to happen
Yeah.
and build. And sometimes our messy humanness and
Yeah.
words and emotions, they just destroy
Yes. I
everything.
I had a recent experience with a friend where very, very dear friend of mine, and we had an incident, and it's rare for me to be triggered. I was triggered, um, and she was as well. And we try to get back together, and we did sort of quote unquote end it on a like we were able to talk through things, and then I tried to get back and she was like the door's closed, and that was just like it's I still love her dearly,
Yeah.
and I wish her the very, very best, even though that door is closed. And I'm sorry that that door is closed. I have apologized. I've cleaned up my mess. I've done all the things. And And like you said, you can still wish that person, love that person with all of your heart and wish them all the best, even though they're not supposed to be in your life. It's just to say, because very often when we talk about spirituality, and it's all, love and light, which I'm all for, but love is also fierce, and it's setting boundaries, and it is holding your ground, and or yeah, staying, all of these things as well. It's not just I don't know if the word toxic forgiveness comes up, where it's just like you have to fucking forgive just because, like, it's like, but if I'm not able, like, I tell people, like, if you're not able to, that's okay. Love yourself, even though you're not able to. It's okay to not be able to forgive in this very moment. Maybe you will, maybe you won't, but like, don't think that you have to just because society or whoever tells you to. Does that make sense? Like,
That makes sense. And I think it's something that, I've been really leaning into. Like, for example, I just saw this post about your emotions. It was about like something manifesting,
yeah,
and it's about like your emotions, and like that you need to stay positive. You need to stay positive. And I was just thinking like, well, it's just like a form of gaslighting yourself. Like, no, you don't. I actually think that you need to let your emotions and your pain run its course until it's run out,
yes,
and then you receive clarity. You
yes,
can't force forgiveness.
no,
It's this thing that takes years
yes,
sometimes.
yes,
Like 10 years, 20 years,
yeah,
a lifetime,
yes, yes,
might not even show up until you're on your deathbed.
yeah,
And you
yeah,
finally, and I think that's actually often the case.
yeah,
And it's part of the human experience. And
yes, yes.
it doesn't, like, sometimes I wonder, like, well, before I would wonder, like, I would think that like my parents would be thinking like they would be mad at me thinking I'm out enjoying my life, or I can see like my daughter and my cat walking by in the garden,
That's wonderful.
and like thinking that I'm not in pain, because not having them in my life actually has been the most painful part of my life.
Yeah, yeah,
It's the hardest
yeah,
thing that I've ever done.
yeah,
Like I'm doing it in vain and like pushing it away and like like saying like fuck off and thinking like, oh, I'm too good for this, or
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that self-love and
Yes, that is
uh,
powerful. That's the most powerful kind of love, when we choose to set boundaries for, like, for our own well-being and our own yeah, well-being. And so yes, I
self-love is hard. Like
yes.
love is like
Oh, you mean it's not just three steps and then you're done? Like what?
it's not just like going and getting your nails done and like putting yourself first all the time. No, it's actually like a really fucking hard thing to
Yes, yes,
love yourself and like put yourself first and like understand yourself and allow yourself to go through the pain and the emotions and not feel positive, and not like to allow yourself to go through all of that. Um, and for me, the process of this has been just creating and like storytelling through the art and like, bringing elements of alchemy and symbology and things that are happening around me. Like one of the symbols, one of the things that I work with a lot and put a lot of my art is like an owl. Like I've
Mm.
always been connected to this like owl spirit in like my
Yes.
physical world. It shows up and it's, oh wow, see?
I was just, so for those who are listening, I was just showing Lori that I have a necklace where I have an owl. I have an owl, and I mean, it's just, we're just talking about the synchronicities and the links between us. That's wild. Yeah. Um,
Well,
the Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
There's just
Nope.
owl sees an owl sees through the darkness, right?
Mm.
Cultivating wisdom. And then also an owl says who. And I feel like, like asking like who, I don't know, in life, like it's just like relationships, like who's not supposed to be there, who's supposed to be there. Like, I don't know. It's
I've
almost
never
even hard.
thought of that. That the hooing. That's significant. Because we have owls where I live. At one time at night, I was wondering what that was, but I'm realizing we have owls here. So it's like when they show up, I'm like, oh, it's just they. the sound, and they're teaching their young ones to hunt as well. It's like, whoa, like it's just why I love owls as well. So wild. How did you like first of all, the thing that comes up for me is also your ability to process all of the, because one of, like, again, spiritual being having a human experience, we've been through the love and light. I mean, I am all for love and light. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for love and light, but I'm also for deep and dark and heavy. Like because it's not either or, it's both and. And it sounds like your ability to create the way that you do has to do with your ability to alchemize, I suppose, all of that. Does that make sense? And does it resonate? In
Yeah,
what? Yeah.
there's a lot to say for your ability to sit with darkness,
Mm.
sit in the dark, sit in the sadness,
Yes.
and sit with the things that feel really heavy.
Yeah.
Like, for me, a lot of times it comes up, it's like ancestral shame. And
Mm.
like shame and the shame and the burden of like not being enough or not doing enough or, passing down like the anger and the abuse and the like the shame
Yeah.
there. And I have it. I have the shame too. I have it for my children. It's just this like energy that it gets passed on and it lives, it lives in the ether. But I think that also separating and understanding that like I think I like we are light and love, like our like our original spirit is that. And it's just like we go through these phases and these like energetic like portals of like darkness. And it's just
Mm.
like, how do we just sit with that? Or how do we move through those
Mm.
and without really like judging it? And then it's again like the forgiveness of somebody, maybe if somebody did harm you or hit you or abuse you, like understanding that it's not really that person that is like dark. It's just this ancestral energy
Yeah.
that also it's like look at the world, look at the way the world is right now, like the violence towards women, like what's happening right now.
Yeah.
It is violence towards women, like the micro violence towards
Yeah.
women with the
Yeah.
beauty industry and everything. It's just like it lives in, it lives in little doses in
Yeah.
all of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not going to change
No.
unless we look at it
Yeah.
within
Exactly.
ourselves.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
that make any sense, what I just said?
Yes. Yes. No, no, because you're bringing it from a what you're, sorry, when I do this, this is my processing thing. You're taking it from a, because we exist within the collective, and oftentimes we consider ourselves to be apart, like we're individuals, but we're really not. We're connected to the whole. So what you're doing, you're taking the global and actually making it individual, so that each individual has an opportunity to look at, where am I perpetrating this? That's what I'm hearing and what you're saying. So that, because when we change it on an individual level, it has an effect on a collective level as well. Because once you change and shift, and I don't want to say know better, because we know people that know better and they don't do shit differently. So it's like, it's about, once you recognize that, you can change it on a larger scale, and it gives us power back, because it's easy to look at the way the world is and think that, oh, I'm powerless, I can't do anything. But in truth, you can do something where you're at. Is that's what I'm hearing in terms of, I don't want to put words in your mouth.
That I believe.
Yeah,
That I believe.
yeah,
Um, I think that, yeah, like I think the original conversation was like the love and the light, and like there's so
yeah,
much
yeah.
like positive, like you have to remain positive if you want to manifest. Um,
Anger
and
is a
I,
very powerful catalyst, I just want to say.
anger,
Anger, yeah, it's not a sustaining fuel, but it's a very powerful catalyst for change.
yeah, I mean, I have a lot of anger inside
Yeah,
of me. I've
yeah,
always had anger, and my
yeah,
father has anger. And,
yeah,
it happens that, like, I mean, I'm from the United States. I've lived in Mexico for 18 years now.
yeah,
But how could, like, everything that's happening, like, how can a woman not be angry? Like, how can we
yes,
not be angry? And,
yes,
like, um, yeah, we need to be angry.
Yes,
We
yes,
need to
yes, yes.
be angry, stand up, and
Yeah, do something. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, and it's because it's the chipping away. You can see how I remember when was this 3, 4 years ago thinking, oh, there's no way Roe versus Wade is going to get overturned. And then I heard the Supreme Court, I heard the hearing, and I was like, ah, they're going to overturn Roe v. I was like, how is that even possible?
it's crazy. They're doing all these crazy things where
Yeah,
like now they're starting the Republican Party is start trying to make it so that like a woman, if like there's like a head of the household, so then like a woman actually loses her right to vote if her name has been changed
yeah, I know.
certificate and then it doesn't match her birth certificate. I mean, and that's not in place yet. And of course, like there might be a lot of like fluff and talk about it. And I think there's a lot of propaganda to really drive our anger and
Yeah,
divide us.
yeah,
Um, yeah, the anger and the rage, like I look at it in my life and things that I've
yeah,
experienced. And I'm
yeah,
like, this is what the world is. So
yeah,
it's like, what do
yeah,
I can't go out and like change things in the world. I can change what's
yeah,
happening in my house.
yeah,
I can
yeah.
change what I'm teaching my son. I can change what
Mm.
I'm teaching my daughter, you
Yes.
know, by example, by
Yeah,
like what I'll put up with and what I
right.
won't put up with. And
Exactly. Yeah,
that's all that we do.
yeah, yeah. How did you have you ever had in like any like conscious like when did you because you started art school and then was your spirituality something that because you mentioned you taking LSD. I just want to emphasize that be mindful if you're using mind expanding drugs. Be sure that you're connected, that you're grounded, because a lot of people will literally lose their minds when they do all these mind expanding drugs or like medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just be careful. Be mindful that it's someone that knows what they're doing. But did you ever have like a practice of like praying or like forgiveness or meditation or anything that was like what was your journey like with tools, I suppose, in a
I mean,
way?
I think when I was younger, I didn't really have any tools. Like I went into art school as a stoner. I like hit a bong every morning before I walked out of the house. So I think there was a lot of like escapism for me. And then like I used to go to like the clubs in New York City and take we called it Molly at the time,
Yes.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
or ecstasy. We called it ecstasy
Yes.
at the
Yeah.
so I did a lot of that, like partying,
Yes.
and I always felt that they were these like spiritual experiences, these drug experiences that I was having, but they always somehow like made me feel, I don't know, better. But then I would like go into depressions. But then as I got older, after the separation, okay, so when I was pregnant with my second child,
Mm.
I separated from their father. It was a really abusive relationship.
Okay.
He's very mentally unstable.
Yeah.
And it was when my baby was 2, I started working with ayahuasca with a Canadian shaman here in Mexico.
Yeah.
I was part of this group. It was kind of like cult-like. It was very like the epitome of what we would call colonization of sacred medicine. Like I
Oh,
didn't really at the time because I was
oh,
just interested in
yeah.
healing.
Yeah.
But as I got to know like plant medicine and I really understanding ayahuasca and I would do like dietas and I went and I like it was of service to
Yeah.
the community and I ended up being like a helper and like sitting in many, many, many ceremonies
Yeah.
and like going and cooking and helping during the ceremonies until I got to be like I sat in like hundreds of ceremonies.
Oh,
Um, well, at least up to 100 ceremonies.
yeah.
And I went to Peru to like clean up
Yeah.
because something not right about the community
Yeah.
and the lineage of medicine
Yes.
was not like not very energetically sound
Mm.
for what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I ended up being connected to this woman in Peru. Her name is Otilia, and I actually messaged with her today. I messaged with her a lot, although I haven't drank ayahuasca in 4 years.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a thing, again, like as a teenager or again to my 20s, like we use it as escapism. We think
Mm,
we're going to find the answer in, like, of course, like if you want to microdose psilocybin and it's
yeah,
helpful to you, like I'm not saying there's anything against that. And if you want to go sit in an ayahuasca ceremony, like hopefully you're going down to Peru to do it.
yeah,
Um, you're doing it in a good center that's not,
yes,
just like
yes.
colonization owned by a white man. Like,
Yes, yes.
uh,
That's what I mean by going to someone who knows what they're doing. Because I've had people sharing, friends that like they don't come fully back. They're not being brought back into the physical world. And like they like it can just get really so yeah, that's what I mean by proper usage of it. Go ahead.
well, it is like Pandora's box. And once you
Yeah.
open the box, you can't close that box.
No, no.
That's been my experience with
Yeah,
that medicine.
yeah, yeah,
Just kind of so my spiritual world really opened up when
yeah,
I started
yeah,
sitting ceremonies.
yeah,
But again, like I haven't sat in 20 Otilia came and stayed with me in Mexico in 2020,
yeah,
20 toward
yeah,
the end of 20 or
yeah,
2021. Anyway, so it's been 4 years, 4 or 5 years.
yeah.
She sends me these little recipes. Like right now, I'm making a pomada for a friend who's having something going on. She
Oh,
sends me little recipes. We do like flower baths and stuff. So it's a lot of healing and energy. It's a lot of intention. It doesn't, like ayahuasca, I don't necessarily think it's the answer to
no.
it shows you things. It
Yeah.
shows things. It's not a medicine that heals you from something. And
Yes.
like that's something that I really had to learn. Like
Yeah.
it's not going to heal you, it's going to show you, you
Yeah.
know, it's
Mm.
going to show you a lot of different things, but it's not like, yeah, if you have like cancer or anxiety
Yeah.
or any ailment and you think you're going to drink ayahuasca and ayahuasca is going to like reset it or fix it, like that's not what ayahuasca does.
That's so
And
interesting because it's being sold as this universal medicine, right? For like the fixer of all things. But yeah,
like mostly for anxiety and depression. And I think it can make your anxiety and depression worse,
yeah, yeah. Because it
honestly.
opens you up to things that I mean, yeah. Okay. So um has that ever been like a stable thing? Like you were bonghead through art school. When did you start realize, or I don't even know if that's where you're at, but when did you stop using? Or like when did you realize that it wasn't healing you, but or like does that make sense? Like not just ayahuasca, but you were saying how going through like people who are doing like things in their teens, how like they're seeking stuff, but they're not necessarily getting the healing that they want.
Yeah, I don't really know. I just think I didn't really know what I was doing. I don't
Yeah.
even know. Still, I don't really know what I'm doing.
Do any of us like do any of us we just pretend it's like grown-ups are just pretending like we're just pretending that like let me put on a nice dress and let me look like I know what I'm doing, right? That's like the appearance that we give. um
Uh, I was just, I'll tell you what I tell my daughter because my daughter, my kids ask me stuff and they're teenagers, they're 13 and 15, and they're starting to get like emotions and things. And, it's starting to get really challenging
yeah,
and like their whole lives are ahead of them. And it's like, it's so different when they're little because it's like, I don't know, for some reason, like you don't really believe that they're going to grow up and be their own person. Like
no,
it does not,
yeah,
they're going to
yeah,
be little forever.
yeah,
Um, but it's a little bit, I don't want them to do the things that I did or make the mistakes or not have the support and the understanding when
mm,
they are experiencing these
yeah,
things.
yeah,
Um, so I think I lost my train of thought a little bit. Oh, but like as far as practice and like knowing what you're doing, like My main thing is like being in nature. Like we just got back from this beach house. We've been going to this same house that's like in the jungle up the coast of Nayarit here
Mm,
in Mexico. There's a very special tree there. There are
mm,
these very special rock formations and volcanic rock. It does something to our family. Like I can see it and feel it. We've been going there for 15 years. It does something to my children. It like calms them.
very nice.
Being there is very calming. There's a river. We swim in the river. We find sand dollars. It's just like this such a magical place. And where we live in Mexico,
Yes.
we live on a bay in the ocean, and we have a lot of waves around us. And it's been a really important part of our lives for
Yeah.
us to always be like out and connected in nature.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, just like going on walks, being in the
Yeah.
ocean. It's
Connect.
That's
Yeah.
creating
Connect.
artwork.
And how did that, because you mentioned having created, websites for lawyers and doctors, and how was your journey with your art? Because I mean, yes, your art could be on anything today, like even on a medical doctor who would be a holistic doctor or an approach. I can absolutely see that. Um, but how did that journey evolve from like, were you trying to conform in the beginning? Or what happened in the beginning, or like, and how did it evolve?
Well, I think just in the beginning, it's just like how do I make money? I worked for a communications agency, and then I
Yeah,
just kind of jobs as they would come, and
yeah,
I was a graphic designer. Like I would do a
yeah,
logo. Clients would come to me. I did freelance, and I had a full-time job in San Diego.
gotcha.
I would do like websites, and then I learned how to do websites. So it really was just like anyone that would come I had like a little business, a little startup in La
Yeah,
Jolla, and anyone that would come to us, like, we would create their website and I would do their logo. So it was just kind of like whatever.
yeah, yeah,
And I think over the years, it wasn't until, well, I always created artwork. I think as when I moved to Mexico, I started connecting more with like well, probably in California too, but like just connecting more with just like paintings and
Mhm.
doing more designs. And then I think over the years, I just really learned that I could like merge those
Yeah,
together.
yeah. It's
And
funny, I'm
then,
laughing because I see the Hamsa, and one of the other things I have in my chain is a Hamsa. I have a Hamsa as well. So yeah. So you started to merge things, yeah, when you yeah.
yeah. And then like it just would like open up that like someone would come to me, like a client that someone that was doing like acupuncture or
Yeah.
like an energetic, like a Reiki healer. And then
Yeah.
I got create artwork that pertained more to their style of business and also reflected my style. So
Yeah.
then like more like a dharmic path for me.
Yes. Yes.
Long time for that to unfold.
Yeah.
And I've been working in Photoshop and graphic design since it's like 16. One of my first jobs was also in like a t-shirt printing shop in
Wow.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I'm 43 now, so it's like 26 years, 27 years of experience.
Yes. Yeah.
And one of the things I do it every day. Like I didn't stop to do anything else. I didn't go, sell real estate and do anything else. I
Um,
did it every day.
and one of the things that I know that you're doing, it's new, but one of the things that I know that you're doing is also you've created a membership. And one of the things I love about that is that it's not just for people who necessarily consider ourselves to be creatives, but it's more about expression, right? It's more about creative expression. Can you tell me or us a little bit about that?
Yes, that is correct. And it is something new. So it's
Yeah.
called the Creation Code. And instead of taking on a lot of clients now, I'm taking on like students. And I'm doing some private mentorships, and it's really launching in May.
Yeah.
But it's basically how to use Photoshop
Yeah.
and there's so many like spiritual entrepreneurs that, they do Akashic record readings and energetic healing sessions, somatic experiencing.
Yeah,
There's like gene keys, like there's
yeah,
astrologer. There's
yes,
so many things and so many things out there. And I feel like there's so much that can be expressed through a
yeah,
person's offering and like what they're connected to.
yeah,
And I always really like to think there's enough for everyone, right?
yes,
And when you get a therapist, like
yeah,
I've been through so many therapists and talk therapists
yeah,
and
yeah,
different healers, like you go until you find a fit. And
yeah,
it's the same way with graphic design and clients. Like sometimes it's a fit and sometimes it isn't.
yeah,
And that's I feel like if you're an astrologer and you have a specific offering and you're able to create something like a vision of like something that's really meaningful to you, like
yes,
you're going to attract the person that it's really
yes,
meaningful to them too. And then you have like this cosmic connection and this
yes,
like I don't know, there's like a magnetism between
yes,
certain people.
yes,
And because
yes,
we like go with our groups
yeah,
of people that we're
yeah,
to be with, like
yeah,
meant to be with certain people.
yeah,
And I think by offering and helping women, it's mostly women,
yeah,
helping women to create digital collage in Photoshop and like execute their visions and their ideas,
yeah,
it brings this element of authenticity to their offering that's going to allow them to connect to the right people
deeper, yeah,
to
yeah,
like amplify and expand on what they're working on and what they're working.
yes.
So yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be someone who like wants to be a graphic designer and like it
No,
could
that's yeah,
be.
yeah. It's more about I don't even know if it's artistic, but because it's about the creative expression in the way that it comes out for that one person for that person. And again, I encourage everyone to watch your follow your Instagram account to see to receive the transmissions because that is and you're such a model for that like for the authentic expression of it and again I love that it's not just love and light. I love that it's also very real and raw and in the process of things as well, because by demonstrating that through your action like that is like it's like with children, right? They you can tell them all you want, but they're gonna do what you do. Like they will model what you're doing rather than if you tell them not to do something and then you do it, it's like, well, why would I not do it then? Like so that's and you're such a breathing demonstration of your expression, your creative expression is what I see. I don't know, but that's the way I view it.
I take that as a big compliment.
Where
Thank
are you at? Where do you consider yourself to be in your journey now? Like, is it because you mentioned you haven't done ayahuasca in a few years? Where are you in your, I suppose, spiritual journey, but also potentially healing journey? Where are you at? What are you, yeah.
That's a really difficult question. I don't know. I kind of battle with the idea of, is it ever over, the healing journey? Is it? I don't know.
Mm, mm,
I would like to think, I know that before when I stepped into like, the plant medicine, I really was like waiting for the end point or like hoping that, okay, this is
yeah,
it.
yeah,
All
yeah,
gonna be sailing from here. But though that's never really been my experience. And I just don't think that's the nature of the human experience
no,
to,
no,
be like done. It's tricky though, because like I think sometimes as humans, like we do this thing where we compare ourselves to other people and like you look at someone and you're like, oh, well, she has this like, she was born into money and she got to build
yeah,
this dream of hers and
yeah,
money was given to her by her father and
yeah,
or her
yeah,
husband. Like I think I used to do that a lot
yeah,
and wonder about like, like all anyone that like I see that has this like perfect little thing that I always thought that I wanted, like
yeah,
they're journey, dealing with like
Yeah.
their own
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
that I don't understand,
No.
right? So I think no matter what the situation is, like
Yeah.
how great it is, whatever cards you're dealt, there's
Yes.
always going to be something
Yeah.
that's going to challenge you, like that initiation. And yeah, I don't really know. I mean, right now I'm facing something in my personal life with a partner that I've been with for 13 years.
Mhm.
He actually moved out
Mm.
last week.
Wow.
But like it's really weird because like we love each other so much and care about each other so much, but it's also like we can't keep living the way that we've been living. And there's no map, there's no other couple that we can compare ourselves to.
Mhm.
There's nobody that really knows the answers the way that we do, that are like inside of us, like what each one of us needs for our journey.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think it's a testament to like, no, it doesn't
And
ever.
then, I used to think that, okay, I started the spiritual journey, I do all the tools, I do the things that I'm supposed to do, blah, blah, blah. And then at the end, like I will be ascended, I will be moving into like whatever, like take me God, right? Like, and then I realized, oh, this is a journey through life. And it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't end. And I want to say, because I've worked with clients who were born with silver spoons in their mouths, and I've worked with people who had very little means. And what I have found is that in terms of creativity, in terms of drive, in terms of desire to create, it's exactly the same. It does not, it's so easy. Like, and I've had trust, like, again, I've worked with people who, like, they did not have to work a day in their life. They were feeling shame and guilt and over that, right? Like, which is, so I've had that privilege, I suppose it is, of seeing both the things, seeing that and seeing how it does matter. I mean, let's get real. Money matters. Like there is a level of like comfort and safety in terms of money. So money does matter. However, there comes a point where it moves beyond. And yeah, so I just want to highlight that. And then yeah, I don't think it ever ends. Um, I can
You
see that. Go ahead.
know, funny that you mentioned that. A couple of years ago, I did a panchakarma. A panchakarma is like it's like an Ayurvedic, like 10 days of like an Ayurvedic cleansing retreat
Yeah.
where you have a specific diet and you do all kinds of like
Yeah.
cleansing modalities. And I think like it's for me, like I've had struggle with my body, like I'm constantly trying to lose weight and constantly criticizing my body. And also like I not struggles with money, but it's always like I need more money and I want to be
Yeah.
thinner. Like those are the things. Like who doesn't want that? Let's just be real. More money and thinner.
Yeah, and
And
then everything will be all well in the world. Yeah.
but it was really interesting because there was a very famous woman, and I'm not going to say their name, but a very famous, very thin, almost anorexic actress model.
Yeah.
And she was on the retreat with me.
Yeah.
And the only reason I even got to go to this crazy expensive retreat because it's like a friend who owns it. So I had the privilege of getting to spend 10 days at this retreat. And this
Yeah.
that everybody knows, this super famous woman walks in and she's like one of the richest women in the world
Yeah.
and probably one of the thinnest women in the world. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
the richest, like literally before me, like one of the richest, prettiest, thinnest women in the world.
Yeah.
And she was a mess. She was an absolute mess. And
Yes.
I was just like, it was a really like perfect experience for the
Yes.
universe to
Yes.
show me.
Yes. Exactly. That's what I mean by it. Like again, like I've worked with those people and it's sort of like dismantling this. I want to dismantle this idea that makes, yeah, but yeah,
Like we would have
yeah,
this like goal-oriented mind, like, okay, one
yeah,
day
yeah,
we'll be healed. We'll be
yeah,
healed when I'm thin and I have, I have $5 million in my account and I
yeah.
weigh 120 pounds. I'll be healed. Like, I don't think so.
No, No, and one of the things I absolutely love about you right now is that you're honoring the confidentiality of that space, of that sacred space. That's one of my pet peeves in terms of having sacred spaces where we can be our true honest selves and be real and not having that be shared with the world. Because I think that especially if you are someone who's at that level of quote unquote fame, um, you have a need for those spaces because you have
Yeah,
to
this
able to,
woman had a need for this space, and I got to know her,
yeah,
and it yeah, it was just like a really eye-opening thing for me. Like
yeah,
everyone, like don't pass judgment on this woman because she was born into,
no,
the rich family and got this and this and that. Like
exactly.
she's not hurting any less than you are.
No. What a beautiful gift to be given. Um, we're we could go on. But I wanna first two things. Number one, I want to ask if you have anything else you want to share before I share my final question.
Just thank you for having me here. I think that this is a really lovely, meaningful conversation, and I really appreciate that. And it just feels like the opening up of things when
Yeah,
I get to have meaningful conversations with
yeah,
people.
yeah. Thank you.
Since expressing myself through just artwork or on Instagram, like it's
Yeah.
not really often. I don't show my face that much.
No, you don't. No, you don't. I love seeing your face. I love it. Um, my final question is like, what is mastery to you?
So I think mastery is something that you do every day.
Yeah.
Something that you do every day. They say that a 5 years, doing something every day for 5 years makes you a master.
Oh,
So
only 5 years? Wow.
I think so. I
Nice.
might be wrong.
No, but that's fine. Then yeah,
But it's
absolutely.
every day.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that because what I'm hearing in what you have shared and also what I see in your work is that you're both the master because like you've opened the cosmic creation. I don't know if it's an academy or what you call it, but the that space for taking on students, but at the same time you're also still evolving as a creator and you're still sitting in that space of is that making is that right? I'm not putting words in your
It
mouth.
is right. It is
Yeah.
absolutely right. And a good example of that is that I would like, I've been working on creating an Oracle deck for 7 years now. And I have, it changes.
Your own deck, right? Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
I created 3 decks with Hay House, and I
Yeah.
created a self-published deck called The Energetics of Color. And I did this with a partner, but I've been working on this project, and a lot of women come to me and they want to create Oracle decks.
Yes.
I thought within the Cosmic Creation Code school, at some point, I want to open up my creation and have this like these open live workshops where I'm actually creating my tarot deck.
Ooh.
And I'm also guiding women at the same time. So it's interesting that you mentioned that because it is me learning and continuing to
Yes.
work
Yeah.
as I work with other women.
Yes. Yes.
And there's something so meaningful and powerful about like connecting with other women and
Community.
how it's like opening up different channels. And
Yes.
that's what you mentioned before about like that when someone has their authentic expression of something, it's like a channel and there are all these different channels, right?
Yes. Yes.
And yeah, anyway, it's just like different channels, opening up different channels, connecting to other
Yes.
people's channels.
And also, again, dismantling the idea that when you are a master, you somehow have to be perfect and on a whole nother, pedestal level. For me, it's like I can be both the master and the beginner. I can be the teacher and the student at the same time. Like it's not about perfection, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that is absolutely the way that it is. And
Yeah.
in my courses, like there have been things I'm like, women have showed me in Photoshop. I'm like, oh damn, I've been doing this. I didn't know how to do that for this many years.
Yay. That's one of the things I got from you. I was blessed to be in one of your, I think it was a free workshop. I was blessed to be in one of those and I was just blown away by your
Oh, thank you.
realness and your authenticity, because I think that's I think that's what's like, there is such a, there's been such a strive for perfection and showing like this perfect image of what you're supposed to be. So for someone to show up like real and, oh, I didn't know how to do that. And let's look at that. And oh, that looks beautiful. And that like, you can maybe shift it. Like, it just, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just, I can't really plan things out. Sometimes I try to plan things out, but I allow the openness for it to flow. And when I do that in my live courses, um,
Yes.
because I'm in a spring course right now.
Yeah.
And when I bring the women together, I always kind of have an idea. I always like to create something new, but it always unfolds into something that it wasn't really my intention. And
Yes.
at
Yes.
the upcoming Sunday course, I've been thinking about a few different things that I can do with the group, but I don't really have it planned because it's just a channel. And that's
Exactly. Yeah.
trying to teach that it's a channel, it's the process.
Yes.
Not like, when we set out to do these projects, working with a client, sometimes it can be a little tricky because there is like an end goal and there is
Yeah.
a time.
Yes. Yes.
You have to be able
Of course.
to
Yeah.
manage the process.
Yes.
But when you're working on your own projects and you're just tapping into your creativity, you really do have to like loosen up.
Yes. Yes. And you have the thing is, I don't even want to say, it's not, it feels wrong to say the basics, but like, you have the underlying structure, you have the underlying tools in place, and then that allows for you. It's sort of like in Denmark, it takes 4 years to become a hairdresser, because like there's a lot of basic, like once you have the techniques in place, then there's that opening, like you can just free flow within it. I found it because, I'm a spiritual business coach, so most of my has to do with business. But once I stopped thinking that I had to know what I was doing, showing up in preparation, when I started showing up, just being open to what was and what is, and the client is bringing into the session,
Yeah.
that's when things changed. Like that's when, oh, like that's when we can come together in creation. And
100.
and, and surrender. I suppose there is a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it creates a space for being responsive to something
yeah.
rather than, having something planned out where you're reacting to something maybe that's not going in the way that you planned it.
Yeah. And surrendering into like remember thinking like I had to know all of the things and have all the answers. It's like letting go of that, knowing that you can just be with what is, and also let a client know, I actually don't know the answer to this, but I will either check, or I will sit with it, or we'll see what comes up. Or um not every client, and I'm sure that's the same for you, not every client that shows up in a discovery session with me is right. And I will let them know, like over the years, I used to be like, I have to have this client, I have to have the money, I have to, and now
Oh,
I
yeah.
being like, you know what, this is not right for you. Like there's like, that's what I have, I do these free discovery sessions. It's like, it's as much for the client as it is for me, because I want to make sure that there is a connection. Does that make sense? Like that.
So much sense. It makes so much sense. I know, it's one of the big things, one of the big challenges, and one of the big things that I navigate is like, the patience and the commitment. Creating in Photoshop and executing your visions, it is a mastery, it is a commitment, it is something that you
Yes.
have
Yeah.
a lot of time into. It's not just as easy as I make it look. I've done
No,
it for 6 years.
that's why.
And maybe sometimes some women come in and they're like, oh, that's not really for me. I don't even really want to do that. And I've had that. I've had a mentee and it just like, she's just like, halfway through our contract, I let her break it. She's like, I don't even want to do this.
No, no, exactly.
And I knew she didn't want to. And I was just, yeah, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. I have many projects that I've started
Yeah.
and I didn't finish them.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. And letting it go. Um, that's mastery,
Mhm.
to me at least.
Yeah, being able to let it go.
Lori, thank you for showing up as your true authentic self. Thank you for bringing your creativity, your realness, your honesty, your rawness into this space. I am
Thank you for having me.
blessed to have been in this. I feel like there's a transmission on a deeper level. Like there's an energetic transmission in this, and I don't know who's going to touch, but I just want to say to anyone watching or listening that there's going to be a link in the show notes, and I will share links to all of Lori's gorgeous, website and creations and stuff so that you can watch that and see that. And if you're feeling a creative urge, I mean, first of all, go check out Lori's Instagram and see if there's a resonance, and then potentially the school or being a mentor, mentee, or like whatever, or like having you create their projects as well. Like, yeah. So sending so much love to everyone watching. Lots of love. Bye.
Thank you so much, Maria.
You're
It
welcome.
was a this conversation with you.
That is what I had for you in today's episode of Mastery with Maria Saraphina. I hope it served you well. For all the deeds and details, click the link in the description and help me spread the love of this transmission by sharing it with a friend or on social media, or leave me a comment or review. Have a wonderful day. God bless.